A lot of people that are paid well, their job is very intense.
People look at me and think he's got everything together. But inside I was like, suffering.
How much money did you make on your last property deal?
We spent 145 buying it. We did the £200,000 investment. It's worth £500,000 now. The house is 200 years old. It wasn't lived in for over 10 years. The roof needed changing. There was no insulation inside. The walls were falling apart. A problem was finding reliable builders. It took way longer than it should have. So in Scotland, you need a holiday let license. And that only came into fruition when we finished the build. We got hit with that. We couldn't operate as a serviced accommodation. I'm not scared to take risk anymore.
Well, Sukh, thanks for coming down to Winners on a Wednesday.
Absolute pleasure, Sam.
It's been such a pleasure getting to know you and seeing your success. Not just your property success, which is huge, which I can't wait to delve into, but also just as a person and not just your own personal development growth, but the fact that you're now coaching other people, helping other people and being such an inspiration and a joy. So firstly, thanks for coming down. How's your last year or so been?
Thank you so much for the introduction, Samuel. Honestly, being part of this academy has been such a blessing for me. I've met some amazing people and getting to know you personally is really, really nice. I think you're such a lovely person.
Oh, thank you.
And what you're doing for the academy, giving back, helping people be successful and creating the environment is really nice.
Well, mate, it's a pleasure. And thank you for your kind words. So your background, you working in a pharmaceutical company, or you were a pharmacist?
Yeah, so it's been a big journey. I'm not gonna lie, there was very, very difficult times where I used to be very, very anxious and very, very nervous as a person. And being here actually in front of you today would have been a very difficult thing.
A year ago?
Yeah.
But you wouldn't have been here a year ago.
No, a couple of years ago, I would say.
But you wouldn't have had the success to qualify to be on here anyway.
It's in the progression being insane. But yeah, I qualified as a pharmacist in 2016 as a locum pharmacist. I would drive hundreds of miles a day. So obviously I'm from the Midlands, but I'd drive to like Cornwall one morning. I get there for 7 a.m, finish at 12, 15-hour shift.
Jeez. So you had to go from pharmacy to pharmacy.
I've actually worked around here as well.
Yeah.
So I used to work, there, left, right, and centre.
But you were paid quite good.
I was paid good.
Yeah.
I was, I'm grateful for that. But I realised that I was trading my time for money. And also, if I wanted to settle down with someone, I knew I wouldn't be able to give that time to them. I knew that it would become a hindrance because ultimately, if I didn't turn up for work, I wasn't going to get paid. And also, if I wanted to earn the good money, I'd have to travel to Cornwall or Devon, which meant I wasn't going to see them.
Yeah.
So I had to think of another solution.
And I think a lot of people that are paid well, their job is very intense.
Yeah.
Every time you get a pay rise, there's more responsibility. And it's not just about getting paid well. It's about having the right kind of income, right? Passive income, ultimately.
100%. And to be honest, I saw that with my family members, my dad, my uncle. They've done very well in property themselves, and I'm very proud of them. But ultimately, they had that passive income. I saw what it was. I was just very, very nervous to do my own thing. I didn't feel I was capable at the time, smart enough and intelligent enough and all these things. So that was what was holding me back from making that change.
And it's interesting because your family have done a lot of good stuff, like big deals, and the kind of stuff that I do and teach. And so it's interesting that you came to the academy because you were from a background of property. So what happened there? Like, why did you choose to get into the community, get trained, mentored when you've got family that are in the business? Because a lot of people say to me, I don't need to join the academy. My dad's a builder.
That's true.
And it's like, okay, but you didn't take that view at all, which is interesting.
You know what it was? So obviously, with my background as being a pharmacist, I'm keen on getting the education first. And I want a framework of how it is. So me just learning hands-on the job isn't creating that framework that I needed.
Right.
So I needed that framework and I knew I needed it. So ultimately, that was the reason why, because obviously I had knowledge, but I didn't have the confidence that I knew the ins and outs of what I needed to know.
Right.
And that's why I needed a complete framework. So I joined the academy knowing that I was going to get that framework. The BRR framework, the SA framework, all these things I probably wouldn't have actually thought about beforehand.
Yeah.
I had it all kind of packaged up nicely. And then the environment as well. I've met some amazing people in this academy, and I know when I'm surrounded by winners, I take off.
Yeah.
I like being around that environment.
Yeah.
So it's that as well.
Have you left your job now as a pharmacy?
I haven't.
Are you still doing it?
Yeah.
Interesting.
So I do 2 days a week.
Okay, so you've cut down massively.
Yeah, in a doctor's surgery. So I'm a prescribing pharmacist now. I see patients face to face.
Yeah.
Doing really, really well with it. But it's because I like giving back. And that's why I'm doing it, actually. I enjoy my job. The property side of things, it will take off. It will go even further. So maybe I will have to come out of it a little bit. But ultimately, right now, it's nice.
How much money did you make on your last property deal?
We bought a house in Scotland for £145,000.
Who's we?
Oh, yeah. Good point. So me and my business partner, Damon Wiseman, brilliant guy. Absolutely love him. So I met him on the academy. The environment that was created here, I found my business partner, my JV partner. We bought this house together in Scotland, 5 hours away from my house, which for a lot of people is very, very scary for the start, because a lot of people that say, your house needs to be a half an hour drive or whatever. That wasn't a factor for me. Even though people said to me, it's too far. It's, what are you doing? You're a pharmacist, you're working full time. How can you do this? So we bought this house for £145,000. I managed to get £200,000 worth of investor finance to do the refurb.
Where did you get that from?
All my contacts, basically.
You just showed them what you're doing, hit them up.
I think they like me as a person. I like to think they did. Yeah. And ultimately, people buy into people. I was a likable person.
Why did you need 200 grand if you bought it for 145? That's for the refurb.
Yeah, for the refurb. So basically, the house is 200 years old. It wasn't lived in for over 10 years. So it was completely dilapidated, to the point where it was on the market for everyone to, buy, because it was in such a bad condition. The roof needed changing. There was no insulation inside. The walls were falling apart. No one wanted to touch it with a barge pole. Effectively, we had to be very keen to do it. So £200,000 was the budget, because we wanted to turn it into a serviced accommodation as well. So it was in a conservation area. We spent 145 buying it together. And then we did the £200,000 investment. It's worth £500,000 now. So a RIC surveyor came out. It's worth £500,000, which is brilliant. But that's not the best part of the deal. The best part is the garden's quite long, and we did a title split on the plot and got planning permission for a 3-bedroom house in the garden of that house.
Nice.
So actually, the end GDV is 600,000.
Damn.
Yeah. But that's not the best part, because now we're building the house at the moment. It'll be finished in October. End value of the two houses is basically 950 to £1 million.
My goodness.
Yeah. So total spend 590, total GDV 950 to £1 million.
So you're talking about 450 grand?
Yeah. But we don't want to sell it. I like the long holds. I like keeping it. And plus, because it's serviced accommodations,
it looks amazing as well.
Yeah, I'm really proud of it.
Man, that is going to be on my Instagram soon, because that is a perfect before and after Instagram. I'll tag you, of course, don't worry. But that is the perfect before and after Instagram.
When we finish this, we want to refinance it. So we're going to refinance it once both houses are done. We'll take out 70% loan to value.
So you get all the money back, pay all your investors back.
Yeah. And we'll have £40,000 each as well. And we've got 2 high cash flowing SAs, with combined turnover of about 150 grand. At least.
Is that what you expect to make?
Yeah. And it's in a very high occupancy area. People like to go on holidays there. It's nice beaches. There's the biggest national park in the UK there, Galloway Forest. So it's just a really beautiful place.
What will the profit be on that then, after you pay for the mortgage and everything?
Yeah, so per house, it will be about 2.5, 3 grand a month.
So you're talking about 5, 6 grand, and that's just on basically one deal.
Yeah.
Which is financial freedom from one deal.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, very
proud of it. Pinch yourself about that house.
Ultimately, it's very easy to compartmentalize it and think, I've not really achieved anything, because it drives you to do more and more and more. But I like to, spend a bit of time, think about it. And actually, I'm proud of it. Yeah. I am very, very proud of this.
Well, mate, you did a presentation at the Academy Inner Circle, and you were showing all the pictures and the before and afters. And I think everyone was just blown away, because,
thank you.
Just recently started, a year ago, jumping on the Academy, and most people start. I know you've got other properties as well. You've got other things going, but that was like your first proper project, wasn't it? Really, you got a little buy-to-let in Birmingham, and you've done a bit of this and a bit of that. Yeah. And I know your background. Your family have done amazing things, but this was like your first proper project, and you've pulled it out the bag.
Yeah. Do you know what? My personality as well, because I've gained so much confidence over the years with NLP and training like that. I'm not scared to take risk anymore. Like, that is a big risk for a lot of people, to spend that much money on an investment. I mean, it's 145 buy-in, but obviously investor finance, all those things. And also finding a power team in an area that you've never been to.
Yeah.
To be honest, I only saw the house once before we bought it. You know, but because I trust Damon so much, even though
Damon's a legend.
He's a brilliant guy.
He's an absolute, and he's bought a lot of properties and stuff.
Yeah.
But when he joined the academy, I'm sure, do you know how old he was when he joined the academy?
I reckon he must have been about 22, 23.
I think he might have been even 21.
Really?
Because he joined the academy. He bought so many houses and stuff. He was, I don't know, you probably know this already, but he was all over the newspapers.
Yeah.
He came on Winners on a Wednesday.
Yeah.
And he got journalists writing to him, can we look at your properties? He ended up in the newspapers.
Yeah.
And the fact that you then met him and started doing business with him, it's a great joint venture. How do you structure it between you and Damien? How do you work out who puts in what money?
Yeah.
What your roles and responsibilities are? Avoid fallouts, all that kind of thing. What would happen if one of you wanted to sell, one of you wanted to refinance?
Yeah. So basically, Damon, for a start, actually moved to where the project was.
Right.
So he bought a house very close to the project so he could look after the project. So, you know, I had to put that into consideration when I actually had this agreement. But I mean, we didn't do things the conventional way at all, right? We didn't have an agreement as of such, which on paper could have been very, very risky. And obviously for other people, I would definitely recommend it.
Yeah, that's avoiding catastrophes course. Always have a contract.
But you know what it was? I don't know I know it sounds a bit weird, but there was almost a rapport built with me and him very, very quickly. And it was almost if you could trust each other. It was very weird.
I know what you mean, but I have to put it out there. I do business with my own family.
Yeah.
And I'll always have a contract.
Yeah.
Do a contract, put it in the drawer, never look at it, but it's there.
No, for sure. You know, we should have done that. But ultimately, what we did was, you know, we had an agreement that we always put half the workload in each. So for example, we've got a job to do. We need to get planning permission. We delegate it between us. And you'd always know it was like, you know, shared responsibility. Ultimately, obviously, every day you can't share 50-50 of the workload because something's happening in your life and you need to
if he's local, there might be some things that it's more easy for him to do.
So what he did was, for example, say if he needed to go there to do a bit of manual labor work, we attributed a figure to that. So maybe he's worth £150 a day if he does a job.
Right.
And then we would minus it from the money I put in. So I put extra money in to the deal than him. So it was minusing against my investment.
But basically, it's 50-50 deal between you and Damien.
Yeah.
You're making sort of like about £450,000 profit and then financial freedom set for life from that one deal. What were some of the big challenges that you faced with this project then? And how long did it take from start to finish?
It took way longer than it should have. It took 14 months. But the big reason why that happened was because the house is in a conservation area. And you literally needed planning for absolutely everything, right? And
is it listed? Is it listed building?
It's not listed though, thankfully.
Yeah, that's good.
But it was the first time me and Damon actually had ventured into the whole conservation area principle. So, you know, obviously we learned the hard way. It delayed the projects, but you know, for example, the windows you need planning for. The roof, what tiles you put on the roof, you need planning for, which is fine. But the weird thing was you needed planning on what slabs you wanted to put outside in the garden. Like, I couldn't get my head around it. Why? Yeah. It's such a finicky detail.
Yeah.
But ultimately, that was the things that led us behind because we had to keep putting in planning permissions for these interventions.
Did you have to be frugal on the refurb? I mean, I know some of the things that you had to do, like with the even with the carpets and the skirting boards and really cutting costs down. Talk about some of the little hacks that you did.
Yeah. So I mean, there was a lot of stuff actually, a lot of stuff. You know, for example, even with the conservation rules, because I managed to get the phone numbers for the planners. I spoke to them directly and I managed to expedite the process by, you know, from 3 months to like a month and a half.
Right.
So we had the contacts there. The funny thing was, so the carpet company that we had to fit the house, they told us to put the skirting on first and then they would fit the carpet, which was a bit weird, you know, but, you know, not unheard of. So we put the skirting on and they told us to put it 6 inches above the carpet. And I thought in my head, look, this is a bit high, really. But we kind of let it go because they told us what to do. Anyway, it came to them actually turning up and they were like, this is way too high. Like, you're going to have a fat gap underneath. So I said, like, Damon, this is not fair. You know, they told us this. And ultimately, you know, it's their fault, really. Because we've spent all this money on this beautiful house.
Well, they're messing around.
And we're going to cut corners here.
Yeah.
You know, we're not going to put like some piece of plastic underneath to hide the gap. So basically, I spoke to them. I said, look, we're going to have tradesmen here for 3 days now to lower the skirting board, lower it back to the height it should be, replace the skirting board because some of it's going to break. And obviously, you know, who's going to pay for that? So they said, how much do you want? So I said, look, I want £1,000 refund. So basically that £1,000 refund pretty much paid for the carpet.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was a big mistake on their end.
I'm not scared of actually facing the problems and doing things like that.
Do you think a lot of people in business are afraid of the confrontations, and then sometimes people just walk all over them and end up getting the raw end of the deal?
100%. Honestly, if you did this project and you have beliefs about yourself that you're not smart enough, or you're not intelligent enough, or you're not capable of solving these kind of problems, there's no way you can do it. No way. And I know for a fact a lot of people do that. Even the tradesmen that we were dealing with, when they knew they didn't have a solution to a problem, they wouldn't pick the phone up.
Yeah.
You know, they won't pick the phone up when they don't have an answer. And I think that's quite, you know, I'm kind of person where even if I don't know the answer, I'll pick the phone up and I'll tell you.
Communication is key.
Communication's key, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like a lot of people, they just can't handle that.
Yeah. Can't handle the pressure.
They can't handle the pressure.
What's next then? So you've got this, you're in the process of building this second house.
Yeah.
What's going to be the next big thing?
Next big thing. So basically, because we did so well with this project, and literally this house is like the most prominent house in the village. So everyone's seen it. Everyone looks past it. You know, sometimes I'm looking at the Ring doorbell and people are like, oh, this looks nice. People have come to us and said, can you help us with our projects? So we're getting loads of deals shifted to us all the time. But the most interesting one at the moment is a property that's probably worth £2 million. And we know that this house could be turned into a wedding venue or a hotel, because there's wedding venues nearby, but also there's really nice hotels as well. So what we're going to do is the guy who owns the property, the landlord, he said, "Suk, I'll give you the house, you put the money in, and together we'll do the investment." Obviously, I'll do an agreement this time.
Oh, of course. Yeah? Please do.
Basically, you know, there's so many opportunities.
Where is that one?
This is about half an hour drive from the other house in Scotland.
Wow. And
to be honest, it's a very untapped in area. Like, it's an aging population.
Right.
People have got a lot of asset there. And they're not very motivated to actually do the refurbs and the projects and stuff like that. And also there's less competition. You know, it's about an hour and a half from Glasgow, an hour and a half from Edinburgh, 2 hours. So people don't necessarily come from those directions.
How's it finding builders in some of these areas?
I'm not going to lie. Another thing that was a problem about the project was finding reliable builders. You know, we'd have some builders in, and one big mistake we made was actually paying them day rate. Because once you pay them day rate, they've got no incentive to come back the week after. Yeah. And that's what kept happening to us over and over again, like with plumbers, with electricians. Because we thought we could handle the project, you know, being hands-on there, we were making that mistake, and we were saving money in some places, but spending more in others. But ultimately, you know, 100% fix the rates, fix the job prices. So, you know, over there, once we lost those people, it was about who's going to pick up the work afterwards, because not everyone wants to pick up someone else's work.
It's very difficult.
But because we were so good, you know, because of my communication skills and Damon's communication skills so good, we're able to kind of convince people, get the right people in, and learn from our mistakes. You know, just because you made a mistake with a tradesman doesn't mean you give up. Yeah. You know, and time again, every single time, I said to Damon as well, me and you were so good because we always have a solution. Even if something messes up with a tradesman, we always find someone else. Yeah.
So the key is then to get a build team, schedule of works. Yeah. Price it out. Yes. Time scale.
And ultimately, you know, now we have our power team. We actually have a very good team now. So that's why we're doing we're building this 3-bedroom house in the garden now. We've got the team there. We're ready.
How long did it take to get planning permission for that?
3 months.
How did you get the idea?
A lot about property is who you know, not what you know. And we had builders in quoting us for the project, but then they saw the plot and it was adjacent to the main road. And they were like, guys, you can build another house on here. So that's kind of how the coin dropped.
And you were like, ping.
Yeah, I better not tell him, but think about it. And then slowly it became a thing. And then we realized, we probed a bit further. And actually in that area, even though it's a conservation area and you think you're not going to get planning, they actually had a whole handbook where they said, we want to encourage building in the area because we want to draw in new people, because obviously it was an aging population. And we knew that. So the two kind of fit beautifully together. We found the right architect and then put the planning through, and you almost kind of knew it was going to go through.
How do you think buy-to-let investing compares to buy, refurbish, refinance, serviced accommodation?
It's a massive difference.
Because you've got buy-to-let. Tell me about the figures with your Birmingham house.
So when I bought the Birmingham house, I was short on confidence. It was a very, very safe investment. Birmingham, obviously, you know, it's having all this investment at the moment. And I bought this house 3 or 4 years ago. HS2 was going to be built. And I knew capital appreciation, as you know, capital appreciation is going to kick in Birmingham one day. Obviously with flats, it's obviously less than, you know, detached houses and other things. But I didn't know that at the time. So I was told, you know, you get a 6 or 7% return on your investment. So I thought, okay, good. I bought it for £255,000. It's worth, so £275,000 actually, with a car parking space, which is worth 20 grand.
Okay.
It's now worth 300. So not a lot of capital appreciation really, but it's cash flowing £1,800 a month.
Is that profit?
Profit.
Really?
No, sorry, £1,500 a month. My mortgage is only £350.
Why is it so low?
Because luckily, actually, so, you know, obviously interest rates have gone through the roof now. When I sealed it, it was at
you just fixed the rate?
At 5 years.
Yeah, nice.
So I was lucky actually, because that's what, you know, that's what you should have done.
Yeah.
So I was lucky to seal it for 5 years at that time.
That's
so it's
awesome.
£350 a month and £1,800 rent.
And you're doing stuff overseas potentially?
Yeah.
Talk to me about that.
Yeah. So, I mean, look, you know, because we don't have limiting beliefs of where we want to build, you know, we're open to anything, right? So, and I like the idea of having something abroad. It's nice idea. So, you know, I went to Costa Rica recently and I went for a nice holiday, but because my goals are so strong and I know that I want to expand, I want 2 houses next year, right? I'm always looking for something in my unconscious mind. So, you know, I spoke to this family there and there was such a lovely family in the Airbnb that we were staying at. And we got to know each other. It was a really, really nice time. And they said to me that they're property developers. And I started carrying on probing because obviously I've got that interest. And they're one of the biggest property developers in Costa Rica, right? So, you know, we had a lovely time with them, went to the beach, you know, got to know the family, very, very nice. We got meetings with them tomorrow, so we'll see how that goes. But they're building like a Hilton hotel and things like that. So ultimately, you know, I'm open to anything. Although I'm not, you know, necessarily going to commit to the idea. You know, it's nice to know that you got all the options.
I think success breeds success, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And when you have 1 or 2 good deals, people start coming to you and suddenly the world's your oyster. And your first deal is always your hardest.
Yeah. Luckily, it's a good one for us. So, you know.
A very good one.
Yeah, yeah.
What advice would you give then in terms of, you talk a lot about mindset. How do you get the right mindset? If someone's feeling a bit negative, a bit skeptical, unsure of themselves, how do you get past that?
Yeah. Firstly, I want to say why it's important as well, because, you know, you come on the academy and you're doing a brilliant job of teaching people the skills and abilities, the framework of property development. And you're always about action. Bring the agents, do this.
Yeah, forcing them to do it now.
Yeah, that really did help me, actually. And it helps a lot of people in this academy. But there's a whole bit underneath that I believe needs to be resolved. And it's NLP teaches us that it is, neuro-linguistic programming, which I'm a practitioner of. You need to firstly know what your life goal is, right? So, for example, for me, mine is to help people, right? So anything I do in my life is to help people. So property investment, the reason I get into it is because I want to make more money to help more people, because I'll free my time up. And if I have more money, I can help people, right? And then, you know, you need to know your values of why it's important to you. And then your beliefs. So like you said, what is the one thing that's holding people back? A lot of people would say limiting beliefs. For example, I'm not intelligent enough. I always make mistakes, scared of mistakes, scared of ringing the agent, scared of doing stuff because they know they're going to fail. Well, they don't know they're going to fail, but they believe they're going to fail. And that's been ingrained in them from some part in their life, you know? And it's quite sad to see, you know, because that was me. That was me. I was a very anxious person. You know, socially, Samuel, like honestly, people look at me and think he's got everything together, even like a few years back. But inside I was like, you know, suffering. Tough. It was tough. I'd say work on your mindset, because you probably do know enough about the property side of things now that you've had training from yourself. Yeah. But genuinely, that is a missing piece for a lot of people.
I think you're right. I think that you can have all of the skills, but if you self-sabotage and just don't believe you can do it, you'll find the evidence to back up your belief.
Yeah. So technique-wise, what we use, so there's loads of stuff we can do, right? So there's like stuff like reframing. So reframing an instance. So for example, you know, I'm here today. Someone could say to you, are you feeling nervous? No, I'm not feeling nervous. I'm excited. I've got this opportunity. I'm excited to be here. And to be honest with you, no one cares if I'm nervous or not. Ultimately, they just want to get value because they're taking time out of their schedule to watch a video. And ultimately, I want to give value. You know, I'm not going to focus on the nerves because I'm not nervous. I'm excited. You know, it's you know, and it's breaking down why things have happened, where they've come from, and we can change all that and get rid of them. You know, also, you know, for example, life purpose. People, I know for a fact, it was myself. People living the life they're living, not knowing what they're doing each day. When you know that, it's a very profound experience, and everything you do, you realize why you're doing it. And I think that's the key. Like calling agents, for example, you might be good for 2 days after a mastermind session because you've had that, you know, you've had that encouragement, but then the limiting beliefs start to come back, and then they come back, and then it stops you. And it's the same thing with the Scotland project. The amount of problems we've had, genuinely big problems, like even with holiday let licensing. So in Scotland, you need a holiday let license, right? And that only came into fruition last October, which is when we finished the build, right? So we didn't know that. It wasn't something that was sent through the letterbox or made us aware of. And to be honest, we should have probably done more reading, right? But ultimately, we got hit with that. We couldn't operate as a serviced accommodation, which usually takes 3 months to get planning for. But we haven't managed to extradite it to about 5 weeks it took us.
That's good. How did you get so fast?
Because we had the contacts.
Yeah.
We did not take no for an answer.
Yeah.
We spent all this money on it. We're going to try our best to find a solution. And if we can't, so be it. But, you know, we've got to try our best.
How's life changed then over the last year or two since you've gone part-time in job, you've gone full-time in property pretty much? Massive.
So, like I said, I was locuming a lot before. I don't locum now because I don't want to trade my time for money. Obviously, I've got a good cash flow coming in, so I'm financially free. Also, you know, now that I really know what my value is in the academy, I'm excited to help more people. So, you know, I'm taking on people from the academy, training them up, working on their mindset, and I want to take on as many people as I can because I want to see everyone successful. You know, and that's a big thing that you promote here, and I love it. That success breeds success. You know, don't hide your ideas. Don't hide your little secret thing that you might have as to why you're successful. Share it, because if you share it, more comes back to you.
100%.
You know, and that's what I want to do.
And I think
my life has changed a lot.
I think in the property community as well, there's a lot of people that are successful, but they hold their cards close to their chest. They don't want to let people know the secrets.
Yeah.
And it's nice being in a community where even myself, I need doors opening for me. I need a social housing connection in this area, and having people on the academy, everyone wanting everyone to win.
Yeah.
It's really powerful.
It's beautiful. It's very nice, actually. You know, it's a lot of positive energy in the academy. Love being part of it. And, you know, I want to really push people, and I want to see people win.
I'm really glad to have you on the academy, and thanks for being such an inspiration
and
such a good asset. And congrats on all you've achieved. I know this is just the beginning. Thank you so much.
Thank you.